Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Utah Stories. So today we've got a really fun program. We have the Women's Wine Society coming on, and I decided to take a break from hosting it today and actually have Allegra Zokowitz host for me today. Thanks for coming on, Allegra.
Hi, everyone.
So Allegra's been with Utah Stories for a month and a half. You started your job in California. You've been in Utah for almost a month?
Like a couple of months now, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're liking Utah so far?
Yeah, I love it. It's super fun.
Yeah. And so I think the program is going to take a turn in terms of helping people who have moved to Utah learn to adapt to the culture, to have fun. A lot of people love the outdoors. A lot of people might enjoy drinking a glass of wine. So you probably do. And I think you'll do a great job interviewing these ladies today. So I'm just going to turn the time over to you.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So come on.
Hi, everyone. We're going to have Cindy and Angelique today from Women's Wine Hiking Society. And on their website it says, where sisterhood, hiking, and booze meet. From day hikes and backpacking trips to weekend getaways and wine tastings. If you're looking to explore the outdoors with other badass women in a fun and judgment-free zone, grab your hiking shoes and join us. And drinking is totally optional. So, hi guys, how's it going?
Great, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to talk a little bit about how your organization came about?
Yeah. So it started as a casual Facebook group, but Cindy and I want to talk about how we met, because that's kind of part of it, right? So Cindy and I met through a mutual friend who was a friend of my ex-husband and her still husband. But when the guys would get together, they would go out like snowmobiling or dirt biking. And so Cindy and I just started getting together and going hiking. And through hiking together, we met other women as well and started backpacking together. Cindy and I actually went on our first backpacking trip together in 2016. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned, the group was just like a casual Facebook group at first, just kind of fun because it's Utah. You know, the wine part, the alcohol part is unique to Utah with the culture here. So, we would have just kind of impromptu hikes that we would post on Facebook, and we just weren't really getting a lot of people coming on the hikes. Back then we would put them on Facebook events, so you would get like 10 yeses, 20 maybes, and then like maybe 3 people would show up, or maybe even no people would show up. So I think it was like 2019, and at the time Cindy was the one that was kind of leading most of the hikes, and she was kind of over it because so many people would just kind of no-show, and so we kind of decided to brainstorm together how we could make the group better, and we were putting a lot of time into it on our own, and so we decided to make it a business and have a logo created. At first, the name of the group was the Salt Lake Ladies Wine Hiking Society. We decided to change it to the Women's Wine Hiking Society, originally of Utah, but now we're expanding. And so we just decided to have a logo made, start working on our brand, start limiting the spots on our hikes so that we could, kind of create more desire. It worked. And we started 2020 with 400 members, and of course then COVID hit. And by the end of the year, we were at 2,400. So,
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So we were kind of talking about in the office, like, is it 50-50 hiking and wine, 70-30? Like, what does a typical event look like with your organization?
So a typical event looks like we will meet at a trailhead. Usually we actually will carpool to the trailhead because parking here is so limited. But we have an ambassador that leads every hike, and they organize the hike. They plan the hike. They get to pick which hike they want to do. And then about a week before the event, an email goes out to everyone who's signed up to start planning carpooling. Sometimes there's a potluck, so they'll start planning who's going to bring what. And then everyone meets at the trailhead, and we usually all do introductions, and we try and make it fun so everyone can get to know each other before they hit the trail. And then if you hike to a lake or a waterfall or something, at the waterfall or lake is where we'll have our beverage and then snacks. And usually we'll spend an hour, sometimes longer, socializing, and then, head back down to the parking lot. So that's kind of what a typical hike would look like.
Nice. So it's not always wine.
Not always wine. We always like to talk about our Bloody Marys on Bald Mountain. So that was one of our really fun events that we did, where we hiked to the top of Bald Mountain. And Bloody Marys obviously have a lot of ingredients. I mean, we had people bring celery, we had people bring bacon. Someone hiked up a backpack cooler full of ice. Someone brought the vodka. So, we had a big potluck up there, and we had it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, just this April we did a VIP Easter event, and we did these really fun Fuzzy Bunny cocktails, and it included 3 different liquors. We had, we had chocolate syrup, we had the caramel, we had sprinkles to put on the rim of the glass, and then we had a garnish of a little Pete bunny on there. So sometimes we get really fancy. Sometimes it's something simple like mimosas. Sometimes it's your favorite beer. So
yeah. Did you receive criticism from starting an organization having to do with alcohol, especially in Utah?
I don't know that we really received criticism. We would get questions a lot is that safe? Are you drinking while you're hiking? I think those were the kind of questions we got, but we didn't really get any criticism. Although we did get an email recently that Angelique is going to read.
Yeah, so we don't get a lot of comments about the alcohol. So I saw what Cindy was saying, but we did get an email recently. And it's funny because it says, I really like the premise of the group and empowerment of women, but what's with the concentration on alcohol? Dulling the senses, hiding from emotions, and eventually acting in ways we never would sober. I'd love to find a group that doesn't stress imbibing is the only way to fit in. I think it's sad that connection has to be dominated by alcohol. And we ended up just deleting that email because this person is obviously making judgments about our group without giving us a fair chance or even reading our website to learn more about our group. But I mean, just, looking at that, it's not that our group, it's not that you have to be a drinker to join. I don't drink. There are a lot of women in our group who don't drink, but the alcohol part is just to make our group less intimidating. There are a lot of groups here in Utah through Meetup or Facebook, and they get together and they literally just all meet and then sprint up the hill. And that's not our group. Our group is the one that is chatting the whole way up. We're getting to know each other. It really is about the community aspect. The alcohol is just a little fun part that we add to it so that people are oh yeah, those ladies, they can't be too serious.
Right.
They can't be too hardcore of hikers because they're taking up some vodka to the top. So
Yeah, totally. We were talking before, usually what ages are typically involved in your group?
So we do require that you be 21 to join the group. Yeah. So when you go to our website and you try to create a membership, the first question it's going to ask you is, are you female or gender neutral, and are you 21? So.
But yeah, we have a wide range of women who come on our hikes. We did a poll at one point, and I think the most typical age was 30s. And then from there, it was 40s, 50s, and even 60s. So we have a really active over 50 group where literally all the women now want to be 50. Cindy turns 50 next year, and she can't wait.
Their hikes are so much fun. Just the themes they come up with, and a lot of us in our late 40s now are now I'm looking forward to being 50 just so I can hike with these ladies.
I'm going to be so jealous too because I still have 8 years.
Yes, our over 50 ambassador, I said, can I come? I mean, I'm a co-founder. And she's like, nope, you have to be 50. So I was like, well, all right.
Well, I love women celebrating aging because you don't always see that. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
But with more people moving to Utah, have you seen an increase in your memberships at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I mentioned in 2020, we went from 400 members to 2,400. And a big part of that obviously was because, during COVID, people felt safe being, outdoors with each other. But I think also there was such an influx of people coming in at that time as well. A lot of people were leaving the east to come out west and have that flexibility, especially a lot of people like working remotely. And it's funny because we'll do introductions at the very beginning of each hike, and it's a very rare thing when we have a Utah native. And it's kind of like a joke when we're going around, we're doing introductions, we're saying where we're from, and then there's one person who's like, I'm from Utah, and we're like, whoa. It's like a unicorn.
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people do say, when they move here, they're looking for friends or looking for a community, and they're like, I got so excited when I Googled hiking groups in Utah and I saw Women's Wine Hiking Society. They're like, I was totally in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people get here, and it is such a different culture, and the drinking laws are weird, and so I think they see our group and they're like, oh yes, I found my people.
Yeah. I love that you guys create that community for people. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about your mission and your philosophy?
Yeah, our mission is, we always say that if you come on one of our hikes and you meet your best friend and we never see you again, then we've succeeded. So that's really our goal is, well, not only to get more women into the outdoors, into hiking and backpacking and those types of things, but just, creating a place where people can come and meet people, make friends, leave with somebody's phone number so you have somebody to do something with. That's kind of what the group's all about.
So do you guys charge at all for your events? Are you a nonprofit?
We are a for-profit group, and we do charge $5 for our day hikes. And like I said, our day hikes are, it's a full production because we take care of everything from like the planning stage all the way until the end of the hike. And so that $5 for every person, it goes toward a couple of things. For one, it goes toward 20% of it goes toward a charity of our group's choosing. So this year we're supporting the Murdered Missing Indigenous Women of Utah. So at the end of the year, we'll take 20% of all day hike fees and put it toward that. We also put part of that money towards like web hosting fees, so people don't have to be on social media to see what we're doing and find out about our events. And then a part of that also goes toward gifts and things for our ambassadors because they do volunteer their time to lead the hikes.
Okay, cool. Do you have any other events than just hiking? You guys were talking about some of your backpacking trips beforehand.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So first of all, we do in just the Salt Lake area alone, we do 6 to 8 day hikes a month. And we like to call those events because of the fact that it's not just about like the hike itself. As Cindy mentioned, we have ambassadors who lead our hikes, and they put so much time into the planning and the coordinating and the organizing to make sure everyone has what they need, to make sure, like everyone's updated on trail conditions, weather, things like that. But on top of that, we also have community service events every month. We have an ambassador who's dedicated to planning those. We do backpacking trips. We do camping trips. We're doing weekend getaways, like we leave tomorrow for Lake Tahoe. We do other fun events like Thirsty Thursdays every month where we meet at a different bar. And it's just a chance for people to come out and meet other women off the trail. Because sometimes like signing up for a hike is really intimidating because you're committing to several hours with these people that you don't know. So some people feel safer coming, to a bar where they can just leave if they feel uncomfortable. But we also do like some fun book club events. We
do our own Oktoberfest event, which we did we started during COVID when Oktoberfest got canceled. So we decided we were going to have our own little Oktoberfest event. So we meet for a hike, and then we come back down and we tailgate in the parking lot at Brighton, and we turn on German music and put on our Lederhosen, and
Cindy and I cook.
Yeah,
we cook all the food. We cook. We'll have spätzle and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And all of our events are, I don't know if we mentioned this, I know we talked about it earlier, but everything's bring your own beverage. So we're not providing the alcohol. We're not serving alcohol. It's just each attendee brings whatever that they'd like. So.
Yeah, totally. I think that's all I have. Do you guys want to add anything at all?
I was just going to say that if people are interested in joining us, they can find us on our website, winehikingsociety.com. and just go on there and create an account. We're also on Instagram at Wine Hiking Society, and we're also on Facebook. They just look for Wine Hiking Society of Utah, they can find the Utah specific group, but we are expanding to all 50 states, so if they're from other areas, they can find us there too.
Okay, totally. Well, thanks everyone for tuning into Utah Stories.